If the way right, then we straight right. I get money, Kid Cudi, day and night.
A lot has happened in Minneapolis this week. Donald Trump and Kristi Noem has launched the biggest ICE immigration campaign in America. And a 37-year-old woman has been shot and lost her life. Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of protests going on because of this, and I got a lot to say about it, and some of y'all may agree with me, and a lot of y'all may not. It is what it is. Say what you got to say down in the comments, and like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. Let's check it out.
Today, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem came to the Twin Cities right as DHS brought thousands of additional ICE agents for immigration enforcement. DHS posted a video of Kristi Noem and armed agents detaining someone in the Payne-Phelan neighborhood in St. Paul. The agency says it's made more than 1,000 arrests, but it hasn't provided the names of the people they say they detained. Here's Joe McCoy.
Overnight, police clearing out protesters outside the Canopy by Hilton Hotel who were there to keep ICE agents staying at the hotel awake. Now, the Department of Homeland Security says it's conducting its largest immigration operation ever.
It's a show of force, for sure.
2,100 additional federal agents are in Minnesota as part of a surge in ICE operations in the state. This includes 600 Homeland Security investigators who are here to investigate fraud allegations.
Off the top, I gotta say, the reason for this is because of all the fraud that's been going on in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I gotta blame the Democrats. I gotta blame the governor. I gotta blame the mayor. And I definitely have to blame the Somalians in Minnesota that has been committing the fraud.
At local daycares.
And do you know why we're here today?
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posting this video on X this morning.
You will be held accountable for your crimes.
Showing federal agents arresting a man in St. Paul who she says was here illegally from Ecuador and had an active warrant in Ecuador for murder.
When they surge those resources to one place, they can get the arrest numbers up, which is something that they want.
Julia Ainsley, NBC's senior Homeland Security correspondent, says Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino is also planning to come to Minneapolis. Ainsley says Border Patrol agents have detained people based on location, ethnicity, or language spoken.
I agree. They should target a lot of these places where a lot of these illegal immigrants are usually at. You know, these places that are known to have illegal immigrants. But it's kind of messed up because there's going to be a lot of people getting mixed up in this because of that. And the reason why the spotlight is on Minneapolis and the immigrants in Minneapolis is because of all the fraud. So once again, I gotta blame the Democrats because of this, which is the governor, the mayor, and a lot of Somalians, because a lot of those Somalians all vote Democrat. And we know why. The Democrats let them get away with the fraud. But like I said, I feel sorry for a lot of the innocent people that's getting mixed up in this just because they may be from a different place and speak a different language, but they may be legal. You know, it may be right for them to be here.
They're working at a job or they're living in a neighborhood or an apartment building where undocumented immigrants have been in the past. They can use that to make an arrest and then check on the person's citizenship and immigration status later.
This afternoon, outside Minnesota's ICE field office, we saw a man brought inside in handcuffs. While in South Minneapolis, things turned physical between an ICE agent and community member.
That is my biggest concern.
Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara says MPD has additional officers on standby 24/7 in case of unrest. He urges federal agents to do their jobs professionally and lawfully, and for community members to remain peaceful.
The greatest risk to me is that there would be unrest or that there would be a tragedy, that somebody could get seriously hurt or killed because of what's happening.
Kristi Noem says the Department of Homeland Security has already arrested more than 1,100 people in our state. They claim they arrested 150 people yesterday. We'll continue to cover this story as it develops.
Now, because of this, and this just started this week, and already things are going bad. Things are getting ugly. There's protests in the street. There's people losing their lives, and it's just all bad, man. Let's see what's going on.
I'll be right back.
So already, just what, a couple of days into this ICE immigration campaign, things already going left. This is a big situation that we're looking at right now, and we're gonna dissect it, man. We're gonna get into it, and I'm gonna break it down, and I'm gonna just keep it real and just say everything that I feel about what I see. Like I said, a lot of people may not agree with what I have to say, and it is what it is. Put it down in the comments and let me know what you think.
Woman in Minneapolis is dead after an ICE-involved shooting. These are live pictures from Minneapolis. There are videos, as we speak, going around social media showing what happened earlier today between protesters and ICE. We're working on bringing you those videos. You can see one of them on your screen as we speak. Basically, here's what it describes. It shows agents in a truck pulling up to a car that appears to be blocking the road. The two agents get out.
Why is this car blocking off the road? Obviously, she's trying to stop ICE agents from conducting their investigation and doing their job, and that's uncalled for, man. I think this lady is being nosy. She's sticking her nose where it doesn't need to be, and it didn't end out well.
They walk up to the driver's side of the car. From there, things escalate quickly. One agent touches the car, and the driver starts driving backwards with the agent's hand still on the car. The driver then hits the gas while another agent appears to be standing in front of the vehicle. That agent, more in front of the car, appears to open fire as the car barrels towards him. DHS telling Fox News the officer who fired the shots had been dragged by a car last June in Minneapolis. We've since learned the driver of the car who was shot was a 37-year-old woman. She was killed. President Trump has weighed in just the last 30 minutes. He wrote,
Before we get into what Trump has to say, I think that it's terrible that this lady lost her life. But at the same time, I don't want to say she deserved it, but I don't know, man. It is what it is. She had no business trying to block the road to stop ICE from doing what they're there to do. I mean, I don't think they were after her. So why was she trying to get in their way and stop them from getting the people that they're there to get? Like I said, I don't like the fact that she lost her life, but I think she put herself in that position. And because of that, I believe she has a kid or some kids. Now they don't have a mom. And it just doesn't make sense. I think she should have been minding her own business and staying out of ICE's way.
I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. It is hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety. But the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. Now, not long.
It's terrible, man. Why did she put her life at risk like that? And from what I see, I mean, I would have to say that is self-defense. I mean, she tried to pull off. They were trying to stop her and check her out because she blocked the road and tried to stop them. And then she tried to pull off with an ICE officer standing in front of her car. I can't say that I blame him for shooting, and I hate to say it, but I mean, what was he supposed to do? Get ran over and then defend his life? He had to do what he had to do to make sure he was safe. And it's messed up, man. I hate that she did that, but at the same time, I can't blame the officer for defending himself and defending the other officers that was around him. It was like 3 officers around that car when she pulled off. She could have ran all 3 of them over. And to be honest, I know that area, and that's a one-way street. So there's no way she should have been parked parallel like that in the middle of Portland Avenue. It's crazy, man. What was she thinking?
After the incident, just a few hours ago, we saw chaos already beginning between law enforcement and rioters on the streets of Minneapolis. Watch.
Man, are these people out there throwing snowballs at the ICE agents? It's crazy, man. This is out of control. What is going on in Minneapolis right now where people are trying to stop ICE from doing their job, blocking off the street, trying to stop them, throwing snowballs at them, and just acting retarded, man. This is retarded.
Kill someone else!
Go another way! Move! Go another way! Move!
What is this man doing? Standing in front of the truck? I blame the Democrats for this. I blame the Democrats for spreading all that rhetoric, telling people to basically go against ICE. And because they did that, this is what you get. You got people out here throwing snowballs at ICE. You got a woman, a mother, blocking the road so ICE can't drive down it, getting herself killed. A woman lost her life because of this. Because of the Democrats, because of what the Democrats are telling people to do when ICE arrives to their city. That's wrong, man. They shouldn't do that. They're putting a whole lot of people's lives at risk because they're putting the battery in these people's back, and these people are going out there and acting outrageous towards ICE agents. The whole thing about this too, these people that go out there and they act crazy and they try to fight with ICE and throw snowballs and stand in front of their vehicles and break the windows in their vehicles. And then when ICE jumps out and reacts to their actions, they want to act like a victim. They want to act like a victim. And like I said, I blame the Democrats 100% for all of this going on.
Get out! Chris, get out the way! Get out the way of the truck! Move! Move!
Tense in a city that not even 6 years ago was destroyed by political tension, by lawlessness, by agitators. And on that note, not long after that moment you saw on your screen, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey held a news conference where he basically begged for this to be 2026 George Floyd.
I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
Trust me.
Now that's the stuff right there that I'm talking about. Because people are hearing people like the mayor of their city and their governors talk like this about ICE. And like I said, it puts a battery in their back and they go out there and they act a ass. And then when ICE retaliates, or I'm not going to say retaliate, but when ICE reacts to their actions, all of a sudden they're the victim. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense.
I have a lot to say about Mayor Jacob Frey and how he's handling what's happening in Minneapolis. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But just in the last few minutes, Democrat Minnesota Governor Tim Walz also found a podium.
I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops.
Weird.
It makes a lot of sense for the two people, the mayor and the governor, Tim Walz and Jacob Frey, to say what they're saying after, or they were probably saying it before all the stuff came out with the fraud and the scams. But like I was saying, it makes sense for them to come out and say what they're saying because they're in cahoots with the Somalians and all the fraud that's going on, and they did not want it to be exposed. And this situation that's going on right now is just a way for them to cover up the situation that has been brought to light with the frauds and the scams that's going on. This is sick, man.
I our National Guard troops in Minnesota, seemingly pitting them against the United States of America. First, though, I want to go to Fox News correspondent Mike Tobin, who's on the scene in Minneapolis. He's been there all afternoon, where there are a lot of protesters and law enforcement officials on the scene. What's happening right now, Mike?
Well, this is a crowd that is left over at the scene where the woman was shot there. We saw the crowd dissipate largely when law enforcement stood down. They took the friction point away, if you will, and a large crowd of protesters followed them marching north on the street here. There were some objects thrown at that time, but the situation is pretty calm right now. I'd say there are about 150 people hanging around the scene where that woman was shot.
And I see a lot of people out there, but the people that I don't see are the people that these guys are trying to defend, and they're sticking their necks out trying to protect. Why are you guys putting your life at risk for people that are not going to put their life at risk for you? Answer me that.
Good afternoon. Today I'm joined by Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson, Colonel Schaefer of the Minnesota National Guard, and Colonel Bogojevic of the Minnesota State Patrol. This morning we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We've been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV, and today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear, Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident, but we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this: I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this: please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government.
Yeah, you don't want help from the federal government because you've been exposed. And this right here is a good situation to take the spotlight off of you and what has been exposed. But we can't let the fraud and the scams get brushed under the rug. Neither can we let this situation that's going on right here, right now, get brushed under the rug. But Governor Tim Walz, he's dirty and he's in cahoots and he has his hands all in the fraud.
To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community, they're business owners, they're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I want to start out by addressing the loss of life that we saw here in Minneapolis today. Any loss of life is a tragedy, and I think all of us can agree that in this situation it was preventable. I've spoken to the president today on the situation here on the ground. I also just got off the phone a little while ago with Governor Walz and spoke to him as well. I want to reiterate first with all of you the facts of what happened today. At 10:25 a.m. Central Time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis. Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement.
Why were they stalking the law enforcement and trying to stop them from doing what they were there to do? And in the end, somebody lost their life. It doesn't make sense. Poking your nose where your nose doesn't need to be. And this is how the situation ended. It's crazy, man. Why? Why are they doing that? Why are they putting their life on the line for people that are illegal and would not do the same for them? I mean, I guarantee you in these protests that's going on, how many of those people that they're trying to protect are out there protesting for them? How many of those people are putting their life on the line for them? None.
But she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family. I encourage the American people at this point in time to pray for him, but also to pray for the deceased's family and her loved ones. Today, on federal officers by the ramming of vehicles, 3 of them happened here in Minneapolis. We've seen over 100 of these vehicle rammings happen in just recent weeks, and this must stop. ICE alone is facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats against all of them. In fact, the very same officer who was attacked today had previously been dragged by an anti-ICE rioter who had rammed him with a car and drug him back in June. He sustained injuries at that time as well. And let me remind you why we're all here in this city today and why we've been here. In communities across this country and here in Minneapolis, we're just enforcing the laws that we have in this country. For years under President Biden, tens of millions of dangerous criminal illegal aliens, terrorists, and suspected terrorists were allowed to invade our country over our southern border. They were allowed to steal, to defraud, and to perpetuate violence against American citizens. Regardless of who your mayor or who your governor is, President Trump promised every single American that he would make America safe again. He promised every single American that he would work to protect them from dangerous criminals. Since Governor Walz has been in charge of Minnesota, we have seen homicides go up by over 50%. That's also during Mayor Fry's tenure as well.
That's because he's been too busy getting paid with the Somalians. He ain't worried about all the murders going on and all the drugs being sold. He too busy getting paid with the Somalians. And he needs to be out of there. And that's why he dropped out of that race that's coming up. That's why he's not going for re-election for governor. Because he know he's wrong. And he's been wrong. And he's busted. Governor Tim Walz has been exposed, and Mayor Jacob Fry is getting exposed, and it's just dirty, man. It's a dirty game.
President Trump took office, Governor Walz has released over 470 violent criminals back onto the streets here in Minneapolis. He has another 680 of them still within his jurisdiction that he could give to us today to face the consequences for their crimes. Because Governor Walz and Mayor Fry refuse to protect Minnesotans and instead they protect these criminals, that's why we are here. And we didn't just show up yesterday, we've always been here. But we're surging operations because of the dangerous situation we see in this country and because we're no longer going to allow illegal criminals to damage and harm, to kill, to sexually abuse, to proliferate drugs, and to steal American taxpayers' dollars. This state has faced unprecedented immigration fraud. It's seen unprecedented benefit fraud. Individuals were allowed to come into this country and set up fake companies and fake nonprofits and divert billions of dollars away from American citizens and those vulnerable citizens who truly needed the services from those programs. This city has burned before, and your mayor and your governor let it happen. President Trump is not going to let that happen. He and our federal law enforcement officers are here to bring peace and to bring public safety and to ensure that criminal activity is stopped and that people who perpetuate it will face consequences. Since we have been here in recent weeks, we have arrested over 1,500 criminals off of the streets.
Damn. So they really out there putting in work. Man, she said they arrested 1,500 people so far. And they just getting started.
Law enforcement has arrested murderers, known and suspected terrorists, child pedophiles, and other brutal criminals that were protected here in this city. We should all work.
And I agree, they all should be arrested.
Work together to protect our citizens. We should all protect the men and the women and the families who live here in Minneapolis, who live in Minnesota, and live throughout this entire country. I want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for focusing on the important work that our federal officers do and make sure that we're focused on the priorities of this country, and that's making sure that we're keeping people safe. With that, I'll take any questions that you may have.
Secretary Noem, Mayor Fry called the claims of self-defense BS. How do you respond to that?
I say that he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's very clear that this individual was harassing and impeding law enforcement operations. Our officer followed his training, did exactly what he's been taught to do in that situation.
I agree, because from what I seen, she was blocking the road. I know right there on Portland Avenue, I believe that was 34th in Portland. That's a one-way street. And it wasn't going in the direction that she had her car facing in. So, yeah, I 100% agree, and I believe that that was self-defense from everything that I have seen. But there's always two sides of the story, and there's probably going to be witnesses with different stories, and it's just going to be one big mess. But the one thing that we can't deny is the video that we see.
Took actions to defend himself and defend his fellow law enforcement officers.
Secretary, can you expand too on the agent's injuries? The president said that he's lucky to be alive.
The officer was hit by the vehicle. She hit him. He went to the hospital. A doctor did treat him. He has been released, but he's going to spend some time with his family.
Can you clarify whether he was looking for after the insurance
I can't, but the FBI will continue the investigation and release more facts when it's appropriate. No, we're following the standard protocol procedures we do in situations like this. When there's an officer-involved shooting, we make sure that we get the facts and that we are getting the statements from everybody involved and make sure that investigators are handling the decisions.
Secretary, have ICE operations paused because of what happened today?
No, we're still out on the streets doing our work to get dangerous criminals off of the streets of Minneapolis.
And that's the thing. People go out there and it caused mayhem, and they try to stop the ICE agents and all that from doing their job, and people lose their lives. But one thing about it, ICE is not going to stop. That is not going to make ICE leave. It's not going to make ICE stop doing the job that they came there to do. So you might as well stay out of the way and just let them do what they got to do, man. You're not going to run them out of there.
Can you give us any insight into your conversation with the governor?
You know, Tim and I have known each other for years. We served in Congress together. We both ran for governor the same year and have served as governor at the same times. So we were colleagues, and we discussed what happened here today. We have two very different viewpoints of it. I talked specifically about the fact that we have laws. They need to be enforced. He knows that I believe sanctuary policies have protected criminals and placed a priority of them over the citizens that live here, and he knows we'll continue to do our work, and I encouraged him to work with us. We've never had a cooperative arrangement with law enforcement here. Whenever we've done investigations, whenever we've done police work, when we've been doing what we can to bring people to justice for the crimes that they commit, we haven't had the cooperation of the state of Minnesota or the city police here under the mayor's direction. If you talk to any of these federal law enforcement officers, they'll say that when they call for backup in a situation, that it's hit and miss. They were grateful today that the police chief and local law enforcement showed up at the scene and helped secure it to make sure that nobody was harmed and that the FBI could do their work. But I would encourage them to work with us, that we could form a partnership that would make sure that individuals have the opportunity to have a safe Minneapolis.
Secretary Noem,
Over here.
do you stand behind the use of force, and will any of those use of force guidelines be altered or changed?
You know, it's clearly established law that a vehicle driven by a person and used to harm someone is a deadly weapon. Deadly force is perfectly lawful when a threat is faced by a weapon. So I do believe that this officer used his training in this situation, and we'll let the FBI continue the investigation to get it resolved.
So just to be clear, did the shooting happen before or after the vehicle hit the officer?
I know you keep asking that, but that doesn't mean that the FBI is going to give you an answer today. There will be an investigation.
I'll answer that. The shooting started after she drove off. She was not sitting there and got shot. She started pulling off in her car, going towards an ICE agent that was standing in front of her car, and then the gunshots went off. They did not just walk up and shoot her while she was sitting in her car. And if she would have complied with them and just gave them whatever they wanted, or license, or got out the car and talked to them and things like that, she may still be here right now. But she didn't do that. She wanted to be hard-headed, or I don't know. She wanted to go against them and try to drive off. And the end result was she lost her life.
We want to make sure that it's factual. What I would ask is that as we go forward from here today, that we all remember that our job is to have peaceful discussions. I'd encourage our local law enforcement and state law enforcement to work with us. We are going to continue to operate here in Minneapolis and in the state of Minnesota to make sure we're going after dangerous criminals. One of the key focuses that we've had here is a focus on individuals who are sexual predators and are involved in child exploitation. When I was just here yesterday, we arrested individuals who were charged with criminal assault and sexual assault and people that exploited children. Why would you want to keep them on your streets? President Trump has promised to go after the worst of the worst, and that's exactly what we're doing in Minneapolis. By not working with us, Governor Walz and Mayor Frey are putting those criminals and prioritizing them over our children and our grandchildren.
It's only one reason why they don't want to work with them. It's because they've been in cahoots with the Somalians and committing a whole lot of fraud and getting paid off all those scams. That's exactly why they don't want to work with President Trump and Kristi, Noem and the ICE agents.
Children.
Governor Walz said that he's not been given any heads up whether his
And that's simply not true. He said that to me on the phone too, so I'll get him the documentation that he needs so that he knows that we would love to coordinate with him. He doesn't give us access to any information on criminals, let us know who he's detained, doesn't honor our detainers, and has individuals and criminals in his jurisdiction that he won't turn over us today too. Yes.
Hearing that the officer involved today was once before raped by a vehicle, can you explain the difference between that instance and today? Was a firearm discharged then? If not, what was the difference?
I won't speak to that case right now, but we can get you the details and the information on that. But the facts of the matter is he's an experienced officer. He's been in situations like this before, and he certainly has been out there and followed his training today.
Are you going to change the way police?
You know, people need to stop using their vehicles as weapons. This domestic act of terrorism to use your vehicle to try to kill law enforcement officers is going to stop. And I'm asking the Department of Justice to prosecute it as domestic terrorism because it's clear that it's being coordinated. People are being trained and told how to use their vehicles to impede law enforcement operations and then to run over anybody who gets in their way while they go out there and try to disrupt peace and public safety. And Americans deserve better. That hasn't been a part of the discussion. I know Governor Walz mentioned some of that earlier in his press conference, but we know we've got law enforcement officers here that will continue to work, and we're hopeful that the public recognizes that the work that we do every day makes America safe again.
This is happening. Let's go ahead and take it live.
There's a lot of information that is swirling around right now, and we collectively are going to do everything possible to get to the bottom of this, to get justice, and to make sure that there is an investigation that is conducted in full. But what we do know is that a 37-year-old woman is dead and that she was shot by ICE. We've dreaded this moment since the early stages of this ICE presence in Minneapolis. Not only is this a concern that we've had internally, we've been talking about it. They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they're doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people. So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense.
Why is he trying to make it sound like ICE just pulled up on her and shot her? And I don't think they're trying to spin it as self-defense, because clearly in the videos it was self-defense. And like I said, this guy right here, Mayor Jacob Fry, is in cahoots. He's part of the scams. He's part of the fraud that's been going on. And this situation is a way for him to try to take the spotlight off of that situation. He's trying to cover it up, and he's trying to use this as the cover up. And he's probably hoping that everybody forgets about the billions of dollars that's been stolen from the Minnesota taxpayers. But we're not going to forget, man.
Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. As soon as it happened and we learned of the incident, we had several priorities. The first, of course, was to get the victim to the hospital and to get care as soon as possible. And to the family, I'm so deeply sorry. There's nothing that I can say right now that's going to make you or your relatives or the friends of the victim feel any better.
How about you tell us where all that money is at? How about that?
There were, I believe, 2 Minneapolis police officers that responded and were in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. The second was to get ICE off of the scene. There were dozens, if not hundreds, of ICE and federal officers that were there at the time. Having them there was only causing more chaos. Having them there was only making a difficult situation even more problematic, and one that, yes, they created themselves. There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now, and justice is what we've all got to get. Next, the message to our community.
I don't think he cares. Where was all that anger? Where was that energy at when all the information came out about all the money that had been being scammed, about all the daycares that was fake, all the falsified documents about all these kids that were supposedly getting fed? Where was that energy at then? You don't care about what just happened. You're putting on an act because you want to cover up what's really going on with you and Governor Tim Walz and everybody else that has something to do with those scams and those frauds. I don't think he cares, man. To be honest, I think he's putting on an act. And he wants ICE and Trump and Kristi Noem and all them guys to get up out of there so they can continue doing what they've been doing. And so they can try to cover up the situation that they're in with the fraud and everything. He's acting, man. I ain't buying it.
Look, we all know that the agenda of this Trump administration is to create chaos. Let us respond right now with our best versions of self. This is a moment where all of us in Minneapolis and beyond, we can rise to the occasion. We can show them who we are. We can show them the kind of courage, bravery, love, and compassion that makes Minneapolis, Minneapolis, and that makes America, America. We are better than a bunch of ICE agents being deployed to cities around the country and ripping apart families and communities. We're better than that.
Obviously, it needs to happen, especially in Minnesota. Things are out of control, especially with people that are there illegally and that are scamming.
And so we are going to meet that hate with love. We are going to meet that despair with hope. We are going to meet that injustice with constitutional justice ourselves. And we're going to make sure that in this very difficult moment, we do not take the bait that these ICE agents are trying to create and that the federal government, to be clear, wants. They want us to respond in a way that creates a military occupation in our city. They want an excuse to come in and show the kind of force that will create more chaos and more despair. Let's not let them. Let's rise to this occasion. Let's show them something far more beautiful than the kind of division that they're trying to stoke. Let's show them unity of purpose, of love, and the courage of our conviction. Our conviction, to be clear, is rock solid, and it is for our neighbors, all of our neighbors. It's for people who have lived here for 80 years. It is for new immigrants who have made this city a better place. That's the kind of love that we're going to show up with right now. If you're angry, I get it. I am too. If you're feeling that kind of despair, it's understandable. Let's show them who we can be. Let's show up with peace. To march, to protest, to hug one another, to love all the way with peace. Do not give them what they want. Finally, we've got a lot of work that needs to happen right now to make sure that, first, of course, the scene was secured as much as possible, that we were able to get the victim, now deceased, to the hospital. We've got a lot of work to do in the coming days. I want to thank our city enterprise for the work that they have done, but more importantly, what they're about to do, because this is going to be heavy, and our city has been through a lot. We also know that
what they need to do is throw a pair of handcuffs on your ass right now. That's what they need to do.
we're prepared to do right for people. Among them is our chief of police. I'll invite him up.
My name is Brian O'Hara, B-R-I-A-N-O''H-A-R-A. I am the Minneapolis police chief. This morning, Minneapolis police officers received a report of federal law enforcement.
Now, the narrative that the officer fired in self-defense or the defense of his fellow officers, Mayor Jacob Frey called that BS. He didn't use the acronym. And the Governor Walz weighed in on it. He said, don't believe the propaganda. Now, we do know from a DHS source who was speaking to John Roberts that the agent who fired the shot was involved in a vehicular dragging incident last June, was dragged by a vehicle, that particular officer. Also, since January of 2025, there have been 100 vehicular attacks while the agents are responding to different scenes.
So the officer that shot already been dragged once. And like he said, there's been plenty and many of cases of people using their vehicle as a weapon towards ICE. Do you really think that man was supposed to just stand there and wait and see what happens? I don't think so. Was he supposed to just wait and get till he got ran over before he tried to do something? Hell no. I think he did what he needed to do in the situation at the time. That's crazy. People really think that he was just supposed to just stand there and get ran over, or let his colleagues get ran over, especially after it has already happened plenty of times recently. People are crazy, man.
And conducting their operations. Having done ride-alongs with the agents, I can tell you that the vehicular aggression is pretty frequent, and the feeling of the agents is it was just a matter of time before someone got hurt. Will?
Well, thank you so much, Mike Tobin. Now, in addition to revisiting the rhetoric of Jacob Frey, Tim Walz, and other Democratic politicians when it comes to ICE, we will be talking about the legality of this incident, the shooting in Minneapolis. But we have new video that we want to show you from the moment of the attack. This is a more wide view. We're working.
Like I said, we just seen all those people out there protesting or rioting against the ICE agents. And guess who I didn't see out there? Let me know down in the comments, who didn't you see out there going against ICE in these videos? Because these are the same people that are not there fighting against ICE in these videos are the same people that this lady put her life on the line and lost it for.
on a spot shadow for this video to show you exactly where to train your eyes so you can see more clearly. But it appears from this angle that you can see the agent was in front of the vehicle. There are a lot of angles out there, many of them circulating social media. We're trying to get clearance to bring many of those to air. But there are angles that show exactly the dynamics, the split-second calculations of an ICE agent on scene when a car accelerates into them.
We're hearing this is a derivative of what has happened with the some 2,000 agents, federal agents, who've now converged on Minneapolis as they, of course, they continue to enforce immigration.
Again, obviously this is developing as we speak, but you can see the police chief talking to, we assume witnesses of what happened here. It looks like that is also Jason Chavez, one of a city council member of Minneapolis, alongside the police chief. Again, I'm pretty confident that that's who it is, as we see other people circulating and talking about what exactly happened here. This all transpired, I would say, in the last 45 minutes or so, getting reports of something happening at 34th and Portland. Now, again, we don't know exactly if this is connected to the ICE operations happening, but again, the city of Minneapolis confirming this was a shooting involving federal law enforcement, and we know there has been a increase in federal law enforcement, a significant increase in the city just in the last several days.
What the Trump administration is calling it's the biggest effort of its kind ever. Converging on our area, the Twin Cities. We do have a couple of reporters who are there at the scene. We are trying to check in with them since they are now boots on the ground in that area, as they can give us more of a first-hand account of what is happening, what they're hearing from people in that area. But again, we'll hopefully get that sustained here very soon.
And just kind of as we zoom out and look at the scene here, obviously this is a residential area. There are homes right there. There's a large group forming as well. We've been watching this develop. A large group of people talking, trying to figure out what's going on. A large group of people yelling at law enforcement that are standing by. We've seen a lot of different law enforcement. Again, we know that federal authorities are here. We know that Minneapolis police are on the ground. We know that Hennepin County, the sheriff's office, they have deputies on the scene as we see more officers come into that kind of barricaded area. You see, again, a lot of law enforcement. You see, obviously, that is the sheriff's department. We've seen Minneapolis police, and we see other officers not totally clear which entity they are with, but this is an area that is growing in size in the number of people. The city of Minneapolis, again, telling people to please stay away. We've been watching this feed, and it does appear that this red car is somehow involved in this situation. What exactly the involvement is, we're not 100% sure, but since we've been watching this, it definitely looks like this red car has been a center of focus for sure.
Right, and we do know that local law enforcement has said that they will not be assisting in ICE operations, that would be a separate federal entity. They would not have a part in that. But as you can see, this is where possibly the two worlds collide, where you have a shooting in a residential neighborhood, as we mentioned here at 33rd and Portland Avenue, involving what we are told from the city of Minneapolis and Hennepin County, saying they are aware of a shooting involving federal authorities. So that's why you now see on scene Hennepin County Sheriff, and you see the Minneapolis Police Department, because this is happening, of course, in Minneapolis, in Hennepin County.
And to that point, the police chief had made it very clear in the last few weeks that they would be there to assist, talking about, crowd control, anything, public safety, that kind of thing. We're looking at another camera here. Again, this is happening as it develops, so bear with us here. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about Homeland Security and ICE agents here in the metro. As Tom had just mentioned, the largest immigration operation ever is underway right now in Minnesota. We know Secretary Kristi Noem was here yesterday, part of one of many arrests in St. Paul. She was there on the scene. This was yesterday. Not clear if she's still here. We do know she was here yesterday. We don't know if she's here. We don't know if she's at the scene, but we are seeing more and more people arrive, obviously armored vehicles as well.
This, just to catch you up if you're just joining us, happening about 45 minutes ago or so. Our Corin Hoggard is on the scene. Corin, tell us what you know and what you are seeing there at 33rd and Portland Avenue in that vicinity.
Yeah, well, this is obviously a massive police scene with a whole lot of protesters who have gathered around the yellow tape here. You could probably see behind me. What I do know is, Portland Avenue here is shut down just north of 34th. And from what I've been told by witnesses here so far, we've just arrived, but I have talked to a couple witnesses already. They said that there was.
That's who I want to hear from. I want to hear from some witnesses that actually seen what happened so we can match that up with the video. But I guarantee if there's a couple witnesses, there's going to be a couple different stories. Even if there's one witness, the story probably is not going to match up with what we see in the video. Let's see what we can find out.
There's a situation out here on Portland. There was an observer, and she was told by an ICE agent that she needed to leave. They said she got in her car and she started to drive off, and that's when some other ICE agents tried to stop her. Now, what I'm hearing from one of those witnesses there is that they saw 3 ICE agents surround her car, one of them trying to open her door, and then relatively quickly, they said, the agents started to open fire. And so the woman was shot inside of her car. She was initially an observer out here, and now she's a shooting victim. We do not have confirmation about her condition, but all signs point towards it being a very dire situation for her. And so now we have, all the ICE agents out here on the scene, although some of them have started to kind of leave the area. We have Hennepin County sheriffs and a lot of Minneapolis police officers trying to keep the peace out here. And we have, a lot of protesters who are telling them just to get out of here. Although, with Bovino here and, some of the other folks in the area, that's any kind of a police shooting investigation is going to take a while. And so you can imagine that they'll be out here for quite some time, especially if, as the rumors have it, the woman has passed away.
Corin Kelly here. We are just now, Governor Tim Walz tweeting, my public safety team is working to gather information on an ICE-related shooting this morning. So the governor definitely saying ICE is involved. Obviously, that has been the speculation, but the governor now saying ICE-related shooting, saying he will share more information. Obviously, we've got our Sky Fox 9 over here, just again to give this an idea of where this is at. 34th Street in Portland, in Minneapolis, just off of 35W, kind of near Powderhorn Park. Corin, when you just arrived,
the aftermath of what's happening, we've also been told that Governor Walz will hold a press conference at 2:15. Of course, we will take that to you live. We have our reporter Leon Purvis on the ground there at the scene at 34th in Portland. And Leon, you have a witness with you, right?
Yes, here I have with me Trevor Heitkamp. You witnessed the crash.
This is what I want to hear. I want to hear a witness point of view, because we all know that the media will spin the narrative, as we seen Tampon Tim Walz and Jacob Fry has tried to spin the narrative. So let's see what this guy has to say.
And the shooting this morning.
Yeah, that's correct.
Walk us through. Tell our viewers, what did you see?
So I woke up, stepped outside of my house to smoke a cigarette. I heard commotion from about a half a block away. I walked towards the scene, and there was a maroon Honda kind of sideways in the road. And people were shouting move your car, you're obstructing the road. And the car began to back up and then pull forward at maybe 2 miles an hour. And then someone started to shout, no, no. And then a moment later, 4 or 5 shots were fired into the vehicle. And at that point, I believe the person's foot hit the gas pedal pretty hard, and then it crashed into the nearest car on the opposite side of the street.
See, already, he said it was about 4 or 5 shots. In the video I seen, I only heard 3. That's what I'm saying about a witness's point of view.
And then after that, the surviving passenger got out of the car, covered in blood. and a man on the street claimed to be a doctor and was shouting, "I'm a physician, I'm a doctor, allow me to provide emergency medical care." The ICE agents who were there said, "No, get back, get on the sidewalk." And while that was happening, a different agent was shouting, "No pulse, no pulse." Within 2 minutes, emergency medical ambulances were here. They couldn't get in from the north side, so they got in from the east, parked around the corner. And I saw 2 ICE agents, presumably ICE agents, carry the body from the vehicle halfway down the block and around the corner to where the ambulance was, where the body was given CPR and then taken away.
Now, you mentioned you live around here. That was pretty gruesome to see.
Yeah, it was. This was maybe 4 or 5 houses down from where I live.
And what's your reaction to all this? Because you're filming this in real time.
Yeah, I started filming immediately once I got to the scene, because that's what they say you're supposed to do when this kind of thing happens. And within 30 seconds of me filming, the shots were fired, and this person died for what I believe was no reason other than a minor inconvenience and imagined fear.
And what do you make of what you saw? I mean, what do you make of all of it?
It's so disappointing. It makes me incredibly angry. I'm still in a state of disbelief. I can't believe that something like this would happen in my neighborhood.
Has something like this happened before, depending on how long you've been here for?
I've lived in the neighborhood almost 4 years. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen a person die before.
And
there's a community member, it's our understanding, we don't know who this is, who is speaking out.
Can you say more about that? Why it's important for you to be able to say
that the story's not going to be one-sided. They have their side. They have their...
I agree with my guy right here. The story is not going to be one-sided. Because already we have a video. We have the governor. We have the mayor. We have Buddy that we just seen. And now we have you. Let's see what he's got to say.
You know, the position of what they had to do, and she had her position. But I just don't feel like she should have been shot.
And you live next door to where she was shot?
You know, I live in front.
Yeah, can you point out like where it happened?
Oh, the car happened like, see the white car in the front? You go right in front of that. And it's right there, like where he's standing at, that's where the truck is at.
And where do you live?
Right there above it. Right, that white van is mine. I look right out in front of it.
Yeah. Is that the picture window you were talking about?
Mm-hmm. With the air conditioning. Yeah, you can't miss it.
Yeah. And then is that light pole where the car crashed?
Yeah, well, it was a car right there. She crashed into the car.
Okay. She crashed into a car.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing too. I was curious about, like, if the car sped away, did it speed away after she was shot? Because I was wondering.
Well, like I said, after she was shot, the car was moving forward, and then it sped off faster.
Because I wonder if she just lost control of the car.
Yeah, after she was shot.
I mean,
I don't know after whatever. I mean, I can't tell you because I've never been shot in the face before, but it was.
Your brain shut down and your body stiffens up.
Yeah, so
I thank you for sharing this, but thank you very much for sharing it. That's for forever.
Yeah, it's just that I seen after she's been shot, it was like maybe 10 feet later. Oh, that's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 10 feet later, and then just sped off. So I don't know if that was her being like, "Hey, I've been shot. I'm scared. I'm taking off around her," or what? I don't know. All I know is. After she was shot, that's when her foot hit the bottom of the floor.
Yeah. So it's a little bit like the story of like they shot her because she was speeding or she was like taking off. You're saying she was shot before
she was moving like she was trying to take off, but not in the fast way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not like she's trying to hit someone or anything like that. She was moving. She was moving though. She was moving. She was trying to leave. That's all. She was trying to leave. She just wanted this person to get off her car, and I'm gonna leave. But you know.
tomorrow if maybe we could come and ask you some follow-up questions? Yeah. Are you okay?
Well, this one was
Feels so strange to start that morning and have a bunch of cameras and microphones in your face.
Yeah. I didn't see a lot of things happen, but it's like, no, the long time until something like tragically bad happened in America. It's like something that was like totally senseless seeming. It's not cool.
So a friend of mine sent me the video from a different angle if you'd like to see it.
Oh, that's from the other side.
Yeah, from the other side, from around this side.
Yeah. You can't see the shooter from that side.
Have you seen the video?
If you see that white shirt in that window, that's me. You guys have a good one.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, week 1 of ICE immigration campaign in Minneapolis has turned ugly. And this is just the beginning. So there's going to be a lot to unfold in the days and the weeks to come. Hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel.